going to try one more in a quick succession of videos. This one we are going to do what's called parallel compression. So in the last video, using the same song, I redirected the output I/O of 3 tracks to the input I/O of an aux input track and got to control volume on one fader. This time, we're going to take these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tracks. I am going to make a stereo aux. And I'm going to call this Drumcrush because we are going to use compression fairly heavy-handedly, at least is the plan, to get kind of what's in parallel, a drum mix that's going to give us a narrower dynamic range, and we'll see what comes of it. Let's see. So this time we're not going to route the outputs. We are going to create a bus, and here we might as well do this. We have a sample in here too, by the way. And let's see. We are going to, if we highlight all of our drums, we can do this in a couple of easier steps. If I hold down Option and Shift, and I'm going to send this out a bus, and I will rename that bus Drumcrush, and that worked across all of these because I was still holding down Option and Shift, and I'm going to send these all at unity, which means that it's going to follow this essentially this relationship, volume relationship, and I'm going to change this input to be Drumcrush. I'm going to put in a compressor, and I think I'm going to try the BF76, which is an 1176 clone, and probably not the best one out there on the market. But that being said, let's see what we can do. I don't want to hear a lot of it yet because it can be a little shocking. Let's see, is everything right? Here it comes in. All right, let's turn off a few things and see what this really sounds like. Now, one might say, hey, that really just sounds like another just extra volume. But you can hear how smashed it is. It's really smashed. I'm going to try and get some output, some volume matching here. All right, let's see what that does. Now, remember with dynamic range, the idea is the snare drum's loud, the kick drum's loud, the hi-hat is audible, and there's other noise and stuff in there or other instruments that aren't quite as loud. By smashing the dynamic range, you're taking those amplitude spikes, those transients of your kick and snare, and saying, hey, just smush those down a little bit, which allows the other things to come out a lot louder, including your noise. So it could get noisier, and sometimes you get kind of pretty cool little artifacts in there. Smashing your room mics, for example, that just kind of just like, if you're doing a live recording. So let's hear what this sounds like in context with everything else. So right away, it gives us a much grittier sound because of all that noise that's being introduced, primarily probably from the sample track. And right away, our overall drum volume is way too loud. So I would want to make a drum sub, which I would then probably use to bus out to the Drumcrush. So there we go with double the aux input tracks. So this one I'm going to call, might as well take it to its conclusion, drum sub, which means I can get rid of all of these, at least for the moment. And what I'm going to do is change these to 910, which is really drum sub. I will change my drum sub to the drum sub mix. What did I do wrong here? Oh, keys sub. Duh. Didn't I make a drum sub unused? Okay, so I have all my drums right here. And then I'm going to send this to the Drumcrush. I like to keep my different sends on different sends. This is not working. So Drumcrush is going to Drumcrush. There's our This was me wanting to hear just the crush, which I'm unable to do with the way that I have the sub routed. Okay, so it definitely in this instance, because of the noisiness, the graininess in the sample, it gives us quite a bit more in the crush. I kind of dig it. It makes it a bit more gritty and urban in that sense. All right, here we go with a little bit of parallel compression on the drum bus. You can use this on vocals. It could be really interesting. Backups especially, I think. There you go.